AI is not going to replace sales reps,
but it will replace the sales reps who refuse to use it.
Now, I know there's a lot of noise and a lot of hype around AI right now, and as somebody who's been knee deep in this stuff for the past 6 months, from the perspective of a business owner and also a closer, what I can tell you is sales reps who actually utilize this stuff, they are leaving everyone else behind. They have better data, they have better direction, they're saving more time, and they're just closing more. And this gap is only gonna get bigger as AI gets better. And this is also something I'm utilizing in my training to help closers get better even quicker in less time. For example, Nathan here is 18 years old, already making 30K per month, and in the next few months, he's on pace to hit 50,000 per month in straight commissions. So in today's video, I'll be going over exactly what AI is and what it isn't, how you can actually start using it right now to get better at sales, and how you can save yourself more time, and how I'm using it as a sales trainer for the people I work one-on-one to accelerate the results. So the first thing we have to understand is what AI is and what it isn't. So first and foremost, AI is a force multiplier. So it's gonna amplify your strengths. So it's gonna make good closers better. It's gonna speed up your growth. You're gonna get better data, and you're gonna spend more time on your calls because you can opt out and actually get AI to do a lot of the things that a VA or you would be spending your time doing, like data. But also understand that it is a tool that you need to train. It needs direction. Like, you can't just expect it to do things without you providing it the right amount of data and prompting it the correct way. It'll also help you get better feedback in a shorter period of time, okay? You'll get faster feedback, faster growth, and faster results. With that, this is going to compound your leverage. As a salesperson, we're gonna make money on the amount of leverage that we have. If we have a really high close rate, that means we have really high leverage. AI helps you amplify that. This is a skill that's gonna help compound, okay? So each skill is going to stack. And eventually it's gonna get to the point where like people are not gonna hire closers if they don't have an understanding of like AI and how to actually use it. And the gap is gonna keep widening. So it's like the early start actually matters, okay? You wanna be at the point where it's like 6, 12 months from now, like this is something like you're just swimming in, and this is just gonna get more and more complex, and the models are just gonna get better and better. But understand what it's not. So there is a lot of like noise and like dangerous mythology around AI. Understand a lot of that is like marketing and hype, and it's completely overblown. And if you look at like, oh, like AI is super dangerous, or it's this or it's that, oftentimes it's the companies that are putting that out, because any publicity is good publicity. And if the people who are using AI, they want to use the best one. So the one that's dangerous, well, that's got to be the best one, right? So for right now, I don't see AI replacing closers. And maybe I'm completely off base and I'll eat my words in like 5 years. But at that point, if we're at that point where it's replacing closers and it's replacing everyone, then we got a lot of bigger problems to worry about. So right now, why will it not replace good closers? Because you need empathy, you need real-time judgment, you need to be able to read a room, be able to read facial expressions, be able to read tone. Right now, AI cannot do that, okay? Eventually in the future, it will be able to, but people are always just going to want to talk to people. Yeah, I know people don't like sales reps, but I promise you they're gonna like AI even less, right? It's just like a heartless machine. And the moment it takes advantage of somebody, it's gonna get legislated, okay? There's already been some class action lawsuits out there that's like completely wiped a couple companies like off the face of the earth. So I don't think that AI is going to replace salespeople, but it will make good salespeople even better, and it'll allow good salespeople to do even more. So it's going to make bad salespeople obsolete, okay? So understand it's not a magic fix. It's not plug and play. If you're lazy, it's not gonna rescue you. It's not gonna create your skill set for you. It'll just give you better direction on how to create that skill set. And it is a tool, not a replacement, okay? So what it will do is it will expose weak closers. So as a salesperson who runs offers, for example, I can see who the weak closes are because I have so much more data, right? Like it will be able to recognize the pattern. It'll also multiply strong closers, right? You'll get better data, you'll have better direction, you'll have a lot of things taken off your plate, so you'll be able to do more. And this is going to widen the gap fast. So if you ignore this stuff, you're just gonna fall behind. And adaptation actually matters. So be one of the first people who really utilizes this skill for the better, okay? Now, how do we actually utilize this skill? The easiest one that you can start doing now is getting better data that you've never had. So what happens most of the time is we hop off a call and either we don't know what happened, we blame the lead, we blame the offer, like whatever. We don't really have the data to go off of what's going wrong on our calls and what's going right on our calls. AI completely changes all of that. So it happens quick where you can submit the call, it gets a breakdown, it spots patterns, and then you fix and improve. Like it's just a much quicker feedback loop. So in seconds, it can tell you like the talk to listen ratio, the exact moment that you switch from like actually listening to start pitching, okay? Objections that were triggered early in the call, like how you should have addressed that earlier, and patterns that you can actually fix. So like the old model is if you had a sales manager, they're maybe going to review like one call or so per week, like if you're lucky. You'll get some vague feedback, some data points, but you're just gonna be more guessing what's wrong. And like for me personally, when I was getting better at sales, I would be listening to at least one sales call every single day, but I was taking 10 sales calls. So I'm really only getting the feedback and the data of the 10%, right? Now what you can do is you can get 100% of the data and you can recognize patterns so much quicker and have so much better direction on what you need to actually fix, okay? So you can get every call reviewed automatically, understand like when the conversation shifted, when the prospect checked out. You get hundreds of data points and you get better patterns. So again, this is not just gonna make you better at sales overnight, but what it will do is it'll give you better direction because you just have more data points. So what you can do, like you can start right now, is you can start uploading your transcripts into a language model that helps you break down all the points. Now, I personally am going to recommend using Manus AI just because it is a credit-based system and it's not a subscription model. Why does that matter? Credit-based systems, they're incentivized to use as many credits as possible. You pay for as many credits as you use. And because of that, it's going to actually want to do everything you told it to do in as much detail as possible, right? Because it's incentivized to be used more. All the other models, at least I've seen, like ChatGPT, like Gemini, all of them, they're subscription-based models, which means they're a flat rate. So they want to be as efficient as possible. They don't want to do everything you told it to do. It just wants to be efficient. That's why if you see those videos of that guy, he's like, hey, count with me to 65. And he goes like, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 65. Like the reason it does that is because it's a flat rate. It just wants to be efficient. It doesn't want to use all that, data and power for a subscription, okay? Because it's just gonna wanna make as much money as possible. It makes sense. So what you can do is you can insert in Manus, for example, your scripts and get a breakdown on it. And in terms of like how to prompt it, you can add different things. You can actually add in like your Google Docs, like your Google Sheets, whatever it is. You can actually integrate that in here too to get even more data. But this is a simple thing like, dude, just do this like right now. So what I put in is like, hey, take these calls and get their transcripts and analyze it so I can see my patterns on my calls. Give me a breakdown of these sales calls for this real estate offer. Tell me the exact questions that get asked the most from the least, the exact objections I'm running into from most to least, what questions I'm asking that get people to open up, what questions I'm asking to get people to close off, and give me any more info that you feel like would be helpful to improve my sales calls. So this is what I end up getting. And if you're wanting some different type of information, again, just plug it in, just model it, okay? So it gives me a complete breakdown of the exact big picture that I need to know, the exact questions I'm asking from ranked from most to least. All right, the exact objections that I'm running into. Actually, this wasn't me. This is somebody else, but this is somebody I'm training. The questions that get people to open up that you should ask more of. The questions that get people to close off that you probably shouldn't be asking as much. Okay, additional patterns worth noting, and then recommended next steps. Also here as well, we want to be, yes, focusing on like how do we get better on the call, but we also want to be focusing on like how do I make my sales process as good as possible. So another thing I would always ask are what are the value questions people ask, what makes people skeptical, and what, when they hear it, makes them more likely to buy. So that way you can see exactly what type of questions in terms of the offer and what makes people skeptical. You understand exactly what's going on from a lot of calls, like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 calls. You upload it and you understand exactly what the questions people are asking and why they're skeptical. And then you address this in your sales process through pre-processed materials, text messages, email blasts, whatever it is. Okay. And you can understand, like, for example, like the offer mechanics. Okay. Like what certification and all this stuff, like coaching, support, property requirements and size. Like a lot of this stuff can just be dealt with in the actual pre-call process. So knowing this, you can go ahead and actually address it beforehand. So this is a real easy way to go ahead and start using AI to just get better data so you understand exactly like how to get better. So another way that we can use it as well is making AI your personal VA. Now, something that I was doing a couple years ago when I was like hitting like 60K per month, the amount of calls like you have to be on to hit that amount of income is a lot. So it's like, I did not want to deal with fucking data and the follow-ups and different things along those lines. So I hired a VA. The beauty about it now is you can just get AI to be your VA, right? Like you can either use Claude Code or Manus or whatever it is. You can ask AI how to set this up with AI, but it will give you your time back, and you can set it up to where you integrate your CRM, you integrate whatever type of like data sheet you have, and just have it do it for you. Okay, so you can automate follow-up. You can have it connected with your email. With this one in particular, you got to give it a lot of data of how you actually speak to make sure it doesn't sound like AI. Okay. Auto CRM updates. Again, I hated like going in and doing my data in the CRM, but it's really useful. You need this data to get better and to give the company better data too. Now, AI can just do it. You can do it to like lead score as well. And then like you can have it to where it's like self-running, like scheduling, to where it's like bookings, reminders, scheduling. It can make it to where you do tasks. Like you're not automating yourself as a closer, like you're automating like everything underneath you. And this is why it's really good. If you're doing a lot of shit, which most closers are, right? We're doing a lot of things. Like sit and actually take note of everything that you're doing and seeing, hey, can I automate this shit? Like, data sheets, you can definitely automate that. CRM updates, definitely automate that. So again, it's not going to replace you on the call, but it replaces everything else that is just not money-making activities, not revenue-generating activities that are on your actual calls. So highly recommend you start utilizing this to give yourself time. Now, lastly, how am I actually using this in my mastermind where I work one-on-one with people to get them even better results even quicker? So number one is like AI-powered call reviews. So members submit calls and they receive detailed breakdowns, like going over every single bit of my training coaching call. It has everything I've ever said to anybody ever. It has it in this database, and it goes ahead and it breaks these calls down. Now, what this is not going to do is replace me actually going in and breaking down people's actual calls. The reason why is, just like I mentioned before, AI right now cannot pick up on like tone, facial expressions. It can't pick up on the minute details that somebody like me, who's just been doing this for so many years, can. But what it can do is give you much more frequent feedback, because I'm spending 2 hours like looking and like really like detailed breakdown somebody's call. I can only do that. Like I only have so many hours in a day, right? So I can only give somebody so many like actual call breakdowns like in a month. But with AI, like they can get all their calls broken down every single day so they can see the actual patterns. And that's what a lot of it is going to be. It's going to be pattern recognition across 50 plus calls. Okay. So you can see exactly like 20, 30, 50 calls, like what is actually happening. And this gives me better insight, like as a coach, right? Because like, for example, I'm reviewing your call and like I'm giving you feedback and you're asking me questions. Like, yeah, that does give me some context, but it doesn't give me as much context as understanding the exact pattern of all your 50 calls, right? So when I have these patterns and I understand it, then I can give you much better feedback, because you might come to me with a certain problem, but then I look at all the data, I review the calls and everything along those lines, and like, this is the actual problem. Let's just fix this, and then like maybe that issue will go away, or we address it if we need to, and it becomes like the next lowest hanging fruit, okay? Also, what this helps me do and helps the closers as well is week over week growth tracking. So I can see now, like I'll hook up somebody's like transcripts to my Slack, to my AI, and it will tell me how, like what they're actually implementing and how much better they're getting, if they are getting better, if they're actually doing the things that I asked. Like it has all the data, so it can tell you exactly like where they actually improved, what's getting better, and what still needs work. So like, it's real data. It's not feeling, it's not guessing. And again, As a coach, I can see that and I can give much better direct feedback. Also, it's going to, you can ask it questions. Like, I'm not always going to be there 24/7. So it's like 24/7, you can always ask it questions and the reps get feedback and just much quicker. And I can show you an example of what exactly this actually looks like. Okay. So for example, here's how I'm utilizing it. So this is something that I did for Nathan. Again, he's the 18-year-old who hit, $30K per month last month, and I have a complete report on his last 10 calls. He has a specific study script that was built out for him, a sales script, a presentation doc, all this stuff that is plug and play on my exact systems that then I go back and review and I just make sure it works. So what it also allows me to do is do a lot more done for you in terms of like script build out and everything along those lines, just to make sure everybody is getting the most personalized information that they possibly can. And it also gives me reports. Like, for example, this is the 10 call trend review report here. And, I've crossed off a couple different names. So you can see exactly how it's broken down, and it's broken down on my specific training and what is going to be important on sales calls. Because again, when you talk about AI, it's only as good as the stuff you actually feed into it. And this has fed all of my shit, right? Like everything that I've done like ever. Okay. So, and it breaks it down into each category, 6 categories. I got cadence and timing and tone, authority, command, and leadership, tactics, strategy, and structure, scripting, logistics, and word economy, presentation, objection handling. And it gives a score like, 1 out of 5. And right now, like for Nathan, again, he is a 17 out of 30. Like he's a consultation closer. And this is something that we identified that I wouldn't have identified if I didn't run him through this stuff. It's like he wasn't asking like consequence questions, right? Like I told him, like, bro, you're basically a McDonald's worker, you're just an order taker right now. And he's on a pretty good offer, and he's number 1 on the offer. But from what I can see in terms of like what he's doing, what he's not doing, he should be number 1 by a very wide margin. Like right now, he's number 1 by a comfortable margin, but he should be lapping the next guy, right? He's closing around like 30 to 40%. Like he should be closing like upwards of 60, just how good this freaking offer is. And it breaks down the exact calls and it breaks down the exact scores, and it gives them like, hey, what we're doing well and what we're not doing well. So this is like something that, again, I can take 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 calls, and I can plug it into this thing and get a much better understanding on exactly what is going on in the offer, okay? And then next is going to be like the weekly reporting. So for example, like here's like a weekly reporting that we have here. So this is something to where, again, he had 6 first calls, 2 that actually closed. Right now on first call closes, this is just first call closes, he's closing 33%. This does not count his follow-ups, but this breaks it down in very, very minute detail. So on first call closes, he closed 20K in a week. I think overall with follow-ups, he did an extra 20K, so he's at 43K for the whole week. But this is just going to break it down in more minute detail, and it's going to give you exactly what you need to focus on, like objection handling, consequence, authority, like all these different things. So this gives me so much more insight to actually give people better feedback, right? And it recommends trainings and everything along those lines. So again, it's just going to amplify what you are already doing. The only reason I can do this is because I've already have all the SOPs, and I have thousands of hours of me coaching people and giving people the feedback that they actually need to get better and have a track record to prove it. So it can just help me amplify and give people even better support. And if you want a sneak peek at the actual AI call breakdown, check out the second link in the description. You can actually insert your call and get feedback from my system personally on how to actually get better and have better direction. So hopefully this video has been helpful. And if you want my hands-on help, check out the first link in the description. But if not, leave a comment of your biggest takeaway, and I will see everyone next time.